Hello everybody and welcome on today's video. Today I want to present you 11 field maples which I put it in quite big pots and I air layered them all below the surface here in order to make a nice wide root pattern so that I can use them in forest next year. So, as you can see, the buds are swelling. I have already leaves, and this one has already a few big leaves. And some of the lower branches I will not be able to use in the forest. So I thought I could air layer them, and the same here. The really big upper branches are too long and have no taper at all, so I'm going to air layer them and reuse the air layers to make another project, maybe a fusion tree if I get enough of them. So let's start it. Now, air layering is really easy, especially on broadleaf trees and well, junipers. They are quite easy too. And this time I'm going to try a new product. It's a cocoa, I don't know what cocoa. And you see, I bought this block and I just took off this little part. It's really, yes, this is my thumb. And I put it in a little water, and well, after 5 minutes this thing became huge, and I feel I have to add a little more water now because it sucked up everything, and still I have a few dry pieces here, so I'm going to add some more water. And what do I need next? Well, I need a knife and I need a piece of aluminium foil. I added some more water to the cocoa thing, and well, as you can see, this branch is already nicely growing, and this is one of the, well, half-size trees I'm going to use for the forest. It's always good to prepare your trees. If you want to make a forest, you need good roots, you already need good branching. If you see all these little buds, well, they will never be interesting, so don't waste the energy of the tree. Prepare it and you will have a much better forest in not too much time. So that's something I have to do later. Now I am going to look at all these buds. I'm going to air layer the branch here, so just removing these two shoots and then get a piece of bark If you do this on bigger branches, you have to be careful that you almost cut away the same thickness as the width, but on these small branches it does not really matter. If you cut away a good centimeter, it's gonna be okay. Always be sure to scrape away the cambium. Get it nice and clean. Now, the scientific explanation behind the air layering is that the sap comes, the water comes from the roots and goes up to the leaves through the sap wood, and then it comes back to the roots, distributing the the nutrition that comes from the leaves, and it comes back to the roots through the cambium. Now the water can still go up but cannot come down. So at this point the tree has a little problem and says, well, I will have to make new roots here. And that's why we give him a little bag of substrate, which is something I'm going to do now. Just take the piece of aluminium, put a little substrate on it. So the roots will form here. Yeah. So this is the part where we need to have some substrate. Now it is important to have this always a little moist, but it's something that will happen by itself, because when it rains the water will slowly go in this little air layer pocket. So in order to get a nice forest, well, you need to prepare the trees, and as you see, I had a fork here, so I cut out the middle parts, but now I have quite a straight edge here and here, and well, you don't want to cut away too much to make it smooth, because some sap has to go to keep these branches alive, but you can always try to do one side at the time. So this year I'm going to cut away this part to smoothen it, and at this part the callus will form already, and the tree will get its sap from the other side. And next year I will do that with the other side. Most of the people, when they have trees and they don't know what to do with it, well, they say, hey, let's make a forest. But I think lots of the forests you see are not really looking natural, because they have roots sticking out everywhere, the trees, and well, because the roots are not good, you cannot plant them nicely together, and you cannot make a good composition. So no, you have to prepare your trees to make a nice forest at least a year in advance, and if you can combine this with making a few air layers, well, you will end up with quite a lot of good young plants to do something else with. This tree is the second biggest tree for the forest, and as you can see, I already cut a few pieces of the old bark away here, and I have already some nice caldicing, and I just need to improve that by getting the two squarey parts away. And this side is good, but here I have a stump, so it's not elegant, and it will never become elegant with the years. You first have to get the trees ready. And it is really important to do that now, because once you put the trees together, it will be very difficult to access them. Just make it smooth. Another work that should be done when you prepare a tree for a forest is if you have something like this, you maybe want to keep these two branches, but you really want to get rid of that middle stump, so I'm going to saw it away. And then just clean up a little more. Again, always doing this on one side so that that part can callus over, and next year I'll do the other side. Like this. Another thing you might want to do in this season is what they call bud selection. So if you look at this branch, because well, this is a maple, they have branches emerging, one left, one right, and you cannot keep them all. So I have a bud here, a bud here, one here, and here. That's 4 at the same point. So what's for sure is that I'm not going to use the one growing in the middle, and I'm going to keep this one, so I don't need this one because I have a branch right below here, and I have this nice branch below, so probably this one will not be interesting too, because it's not really a question of following rules, you know. If you let 3 branches emerging from the same spot, well, in time the place where you let them grow will swell gigantically and will become very unattractive. The same goes for this spot where you see we have a fork here, which is very good, and then we have 2 already nice formed branches, but then at this fork we have 1, 2, 3, 4 extra little shoots or buds that are emerging, and well, that's what maples do, but that's what we don't want them to do. So I just need to keep these 2 branches, and I will get rid of the other ones and trying to cut them as close as possible to the buds. You can just scrape them away with your finger, and you really need scissors with a good point to do that, because if you just do that with normal pliers, well, I'm sorry, but you're going to end up with big bulges, and well, it will always look horrible. This part is a little bumpy too, so I'm going to make a little incision and get a piece of the wood away. In order to get a more elegant fork. like this, and get the edges clean. So when this heals over, it will be a nice smooth transition. So that's it for today's video. The work for today, of course, is not completely done. I have to make more air layers, and I need to clean up all the buds and branches that I will not need in the final composition. But I showed you technically all I wanted to do today. So I hope all your trees did well during the winter, and thank you for watching, and see you next time.